The Northtown News Magazine is brought to you in part by eVoter. eVoter is proud to be a sponsor of the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson, and welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet Hope, Chicago. 2 is 4.
Hey there, I am really Marty Levinson. Don't let anybody fool you. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers here, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at www.ntnm.org, where, I don't know, it's like 15, 20,000 of you have already watched shows this year. We're way over 100,000, so thank you so much. We're real big. Go to our website to find out all the upcoming shows. Community policing we're real big on, caps24.org. You guys really need to show up at the meetings. There aren't that many. Well, part of it is the weather, but like winter's over now, gang. So at least hopefully. And show up at your local community policing meetings. In 2412, where I am, Devon Dupre at Kedzie Ridge. They're on the 4th Wednesday at 7 p.m. And they're at Boone School in March, April, and May. Then we're at Warren Park, June, July, and August. 2413, Sonny Hirsch alternates between Greenbrier Park and Emerson Park. And that's on the third Tuesday every month at 7 p.m. And you can go to caps24.org to get the entire schedule for the 24th District, which basically is Rogers Park, West Rogers Park, and parts of Edgewater.
What about 2411?
2411, yeah, 2411, okay, I have no problem. 2411 meets, they alternate between Margaret Mary and the JCC.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know which day of the month they meet because they don't send me their notices.
All right.
Okay, and frankly, I should have looked on caps24.org, but I know they alternate between the two of them. And, go to caps24.org if you want to find out what's happening with 2411.
Okay.
And the rest of them, Peterson Park's another police district, so that one I don't know about. Because that's also part of the 50th ward.
That's 17th ward,
17th
district.
That I couldn't tell you about. So, in any event, my next guest, and we want to thank, I assume Joe Chuckjay brought you.
Yes, he needs no introduction.
He needs no introduction, so we're not going to introduce him. Alderman Benry Stone to the 50th Ward. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good, thanks, and thank you for coming. You know what? It's slow economic times. The election is more than over. We discussed it last time.
That's right.
So, people think we really make up what we're going to talk about. Our conversation before we started was, well, we'll figure out what to talk about.
Yeah, where do you get your locks?
I did ask that, as a matter of fact. So, I don't like the Atlantic stuff. I really prefer the Pacific stuff, frankly. I like the good, I was at...
Salmon swim upstream, remember?
Right. I was at the, there's lots of nice mountains up north. But as a matter of fact, I was at one of those discount places, and they had like a 3-pack of Scottish salmon, Norwegian salmon, and Alaskan salmon.
Yeah.
And that's with the nice OU or OK on it, or whatever it was. And, so, for me, that was just fine. So is there any construction going on in the neighborhood right now?
Oh, sure. Well, the garage at Devon Rockwell is going along very fine. The parking area will be done by late spring, early summer, and the parking garage will be open. The apartments won't be finished by then, but the garage portion will be finished by late spring or early summer. And it's really taking shape now. And also the school which has no name, the school with no name,
okay,
which is called Boone Clinton on Whipple and North Shore, is really moving, and they'll be ready for the fall term. And
they are going to open in the fall?
Oh yes, September 2010.
Wow.
that's moving along, and that'll be that's unbelievable how quickly they're moving, and you should stop by and take a look at it. You really can't see what's happening on the inside. I was fortunate when I met with the people from the Board of Ed. They showed me some pictures of the interior, but otherwise all you can see is the exterior, and the windows are closed off, so you really can't see what's happening on the interior. But from the pictures they showed me, most of it's roughed in already on the interior, and it's pretty sure that'll be completed between now and September when school opens.
Somebody who usually, I was speaking to somebody who usually has, I know this guy's usually got his back straight. You know, one of the guys that from the neighborhood, a decent guy. So anyway, he was telling me, because he's he's a member of St. Tim's, that I guess the public school needs to give people like a year's notice before they terminate a lease or something. Otherwise, they're supposed to pay. And they didn't notify either Kins or St. Tim's about that they were necessarily leaving. And
the exact opposite was I was informed the exact opposite, that they have already given notification that they're that the leases will expire and they will not be renewed.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And that's what I was told anyway. And I mean, it's not good news for either Kins or St. Tim's, but that's what I've been told. They had a meeting at Clinton where over 400 people showed up at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon.
Wow.
Where they had the proposed boundaries of the districts for Clinton, Boone, and the new school, and which was not a sure thing, and they were asking for the people to advise how they felt about the lines that were being drawn. Basically, the lines for the new school run from Toohey to Granville, and from Francisco to Kedzie, with slight variations, because it goes out at the Vaughn, it goes out to California, and then comes back at like Mozart, and a little irregular line.
Like regular politics.
Like gerrymander. You mean
right.
Gerrymander?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then down Rosemont back to Granville, but back to Francisco and then down to Granville. But basically, the lines are Francisco to Kedzie, Toohey to Granville.
Yeah, how many students are they anticipated having in the first year?
Oh, they're anticipating somewhere around 700.
Okay.
They're really not sure. When they anticipate, they can't take into consideration, for instance, the fact that at some later date there's going to be new subdivisions in that area too. For instance, I can give you an example. The area at Kedzie between Albion and North Shore, there's an area that has to be subdivided and built up in that area.
Oh, there's 5 gigantic mansions there they're all vacant?
Well, south of the so-called mansions,
yeah,
is an area that will be something like 28 or 30 houses.
Okay.
And you don't know how many children are going to be in those houses.
Yeah, you could, in theory, have like 50, 100 students from there easy.
Yeah, well, so, these are figures that you don't know how many people are going to be there. And that's almost on top of the school. And there are other variables, and who knows the changing populations. The southern portion has got a lot of apartment buildings in it, and there's changing populations in those apartment buildings, and you don't know how many children are going to come from those areas. And this is a local school, so it'll be restricted to people within the boundaries of the local area.
Which is basically Granville to Tui, Francisco to Ridge.
Right.
Very good.
And it was amazing how many people showed up at that meeting. I anticipated maybe 100 people at that meeting, and they kept bringing more and more chairs out because people kept showing. People kept coming in and coming in. And some people thought the meeting was at 5:30, so at 5:30 another group of people came in. And
I actually wanted to go that day, but I think we were either filming or having my CAPS meeting that day.
It was amazing how many people showed up. I never anticipated as many people would show up.
Were they familiar faces or just general people?
Well, like my waiter from What's Cooking, Manny, was there because he's got about 3 kids that live in the area.
Yeah.
And so there were a lot of familiar faces. A lot of teachers were there because some of them are going to be transferred to a new school, and everybody wanted to know how it was going to affect them.
Yeah, that's right, because you're not going to need as many teachers at Boone and Clinton.
And in addition to which, some of them want to go to the new school, some of them want to stay at where they're presently at. You don't know who the principal's going to be at the new school, and there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, so everybody is on pins and needles. Even the principal from Rogers was there, even though Rogers is obviously not going to be affected by the new school,
right?
Because they're beyond the.
So right now, a kid at Tui in Sacramento or Tui and Kedzie, whatever, would go to. Would Tui and Kedzie would go to Boone right now, or?
Tui and Kedzie, let's say Winston Towers 5,
right,
would go to the new school.
No, but I mean before the new school, would they have gone to Boone or would they have gone to Rogers?
They would have gone to Boone.
That's quite a trip.
Well, that's where they would have gone.
Interesting. I never knew the boundaries for Boone. I mean, I'm 2 doors away from Boone, and I never thought about the boundaries all the years.
When you got like down when I lived on Estes was the dividing line between Rogers and Boone. In other words, if you lived on the north side of Estes, your kids went to Rogers. If you lived on the south side of Estes, your kids went to Boone.
Oh, so Pete, you could be
that was
best friends.
East of Sacramento.
You could be best friends across the street with people, and you go to different schools.
That's exactly what happened to my kids. They're very close friends. Lived on the south side of the street. We lived on the north side of the street. My kids went to Rogers, and their best friends went to Boone.
Wow, interesting.
But you have to have a boundary line somewhere, so that's what happens. And Estes, amazingly, at that particular point, is still a boundary line.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is.
Gerrymandering.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you I keep meaning to ask you about the Aldi's. The Aldi's is
Aldi's is still under construction. That's another another major construction that's going on. Aldi's at Granville in California. They've got all those. You saw all the pylons in the ground there.
Right.
That's going to be an interesting construction because the parking is going to be on the second floor and the store is going to be on the first floor.
And it's going to be a much bigger Aldi's than the old one.
Oh, much bigger, because what was the parking lot is now going to be part of the store.
Yeah.
So the store is going to be at least 2 times as big as it was before.
Yeah.
And probably 2.5 times as big. And the parking lot will be on the second floor.
So, yeah, that sounds good. Now, let me also ask you about, by the way, I want to say, because we haven't talked about the new Dominic's because of all the politics I was doing. I actually went to the new Dominic's a couple of times. It's a really nice store.
I've been there a number of times, too. Unfortunately, it hasn't had... the couple times I was at the new Dominic's, I had hoped there'd be much more people shopping there than when I was there.
Yeah.
all those people who were crying and saying, "Oh, we need the Dominics back, we need the Dominics back," and yet I didn't see the big crowds I had hoped to see in the new Dominics. One of the things that I had found fault with the old Dominics is that it wasn't clean, it wasn't well stocked. The new Dominics is clean as a whistle. It's beautifully kept up.
Yeah, it's a beautiful store.
It's well stocked, and yet the crowds weren't there like I'm used to seeing it at a regular Dominics, and that sort of bothers me because Dominics is like any other chain store. Everything depends on the bottom line.
Yep.
And
yeah, they're not in it for their health, that's for sure.
And if the store doesn't draw, you know that they'll be checking their bottom line.
Yep. Any thought about the automatic menu yet for this year?
I just received my menus in the mail, and we'll continue our program on the piggyback lighting. So that means about 2/3 of our program will be continuing on with the piggyback lighting, and we're moving east. This time we'll be moving from Washtenaw south of Pratt. We'll be moving along from Washtenaw east because we've moved as far east as Washtenaw, so we'll be moving east from Washtenaw, continuing east.
So my neighbors will have it around the corner, but I won't have it yet.
Well, you're south of Pratt, so you will have it.
Oh, I'm on the south side of Pratt.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because we go from Pratt south to Peterson.
Oh, so the dividing line on Pratt is
Pratt is the dividing line.
And how far east are you going to be able to go with?
I don't know. It's still $2,000 per piggyback light.
And what do they really cost in real life?
I think that's about the regular cost. Actually, it cost me more than that.
Because I was going to say, because like you mentioned the speed bumps one year.
I figured it was costing me, when I originally computed it, I figured it was costing me approximately per block something like $12,000. And when my actual cost came in, it was a heck of a lot more than that.
Wow.
And that's why I didn't get as much as I thought I was going to get.
Yeah.
So I'll wait and I'll make my selection, and then they'll tell me how much it actually costs after I pick it. Because if it had been what I had selected, I would have gotten all the way almost to Western this year, and I only got to Washtenaw.
Yeah, I'll have to bring that up. As a matter of fact, they always ask me about that at the CAFS meeting, so I'll make sure I bring it up.
Well, we'll be moving east from Washtenaw.
Okay. And okay, and last time you did it, you went west. You went east from where?
Actually, we did all of Peterson Park.
Yeah.
And then we went east from California. We picked up the 2 blocks from California to Washtenaw, but we did all of Peterson Park.
Right.
Because we had skipped Peterson Park.
Well, isn't
before.
it also west of California a little bit, or?
Well, we had done everything between Kedzie and California.
Oh, I got you. So Peterson Park also includes the.
Peterson Park was everything between approximately Monticello and Kedzie.
Yeah. Now, is the mayor upping or lowering the amount this year on the menu?
No, it's still 1,320,000.
Okay, I'll take the 320,000 if you don't mind. Just kidding.
Well, last year we spent something like 900,000 on the lighting.
Yeah.
And the balance, the 400,000 on street work.
So
I shouldn't say that. We spent 250,000 on the Park District. And basically that was to continue on the program for the payoff on Thillins.
Oh, right, which we were very instrumental in making happen. Just out of curiosity too, I mean, I know the economy changes lots of stuff. Is there any more talk about the Park District and the Senior Citizen Center in Warren Park, or?
Well, what happened there is that the Senior Citizen Center was supposed to go into a senior building, which was supposed to be built on Kedzie and North Shore.
Oh.
And it would save us something like couple $100,000 to build it within the building as opposed to building as a separate standing building.
Yeah.
And Senior Suites was supposed to build a building at Kedzie and North Shore, so we would save at least $200,000 to $300,000 by building it within the building.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Senior Suites did not get the credits that they were supposed to get from IDA. So they
What's IDA?
Illinois Housing Development. As a result, they dropped out of the picture, so they're not developing their senior housing at the Kedzie and North Shore, and somebody else is moving into that picture, and so we don't know where we're staying on that construction on that senior building. So I don't know where we're going to go, and until that is settled, we don't know where we're going to go on the senior center. So that's up in the air at this point.
Yeah, is there any real estate moving at all?
Yeah, real estate is moving, but unfortunately, so are foreclosures. Foreclosures are up in our area.
Yeah, you know what? Walking around, I've seen plenty of buildings that are shuttered down and on tax lists.
It's amazing that our area, which had a low foreclosure rate, now has a higher foreclosure rate, where the foreclosure rate went down in the lower cost areas. It's gone up in our area. Some of the better properties are being subject to foreclosures at this point. Hopefully, contrary to what Washington keeps telling you how rosy the picture is.
Yeah, right.
But they're wrong. The picture is not rosy. Not only is the economy not rosy, but the general picture all over is not rosy. And I'm being told that the real estate market, we may have to wait as late as 2013 till it will improve.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the way I see things right now is that the economy is being artificially propped up by all this excess spending from Washington. Plus, you've got the city propped up from the parking tax, from the parking meter stuff, and you're not going to have that next year.
Well, we not only not going to have it, but we're not going to have a lot of things. The city has been very fortunate up until this point, and that we had that rainy day fund. We don't have it anymore. We still have a reserve of monies, but we can't no longer use that reserve. He will be unable to use the reserve like he did in the past. That was a capital reserve which he had an ability to use, but he cannot use the additional funds anymore. Otherwise, it'll cost us too much money to use it, because it will affect our bonding rate, it'll affect our interest rate. He no longer can touch that monies. He has nothing left to sell or lease. Therefore, he's in a position where he no longer can afford to do anything that he's done in the past. He has no more place where he can cut back on the workforce, because unless you intend to leave the people totally unprotected as far as police and fire is concerned, there's nowhere more to cut. We put no more new police on. We put no new firemen on. Each year you lose a certain amount people who retire.
Plus, they've been urging early retirement for a lot of them.
Our workforce is completely depleted. We're restricted on who we can hire. So we're at a point now where people are giving 1/12 of their salary back to the city by way of furlough days. So there's nowhere else to go. So the answer is that you're going to cut back on people who expect to get garbage pickup on a weekly basis, may get it on a 2-week basis. There will be other things that people will be forced to endure during the coming year. I see a very bleak year ahead, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I think that's a very realistic output. Unfortunately, the reason it's so bleak is that we are coming into an election year too, and anyone who's running for office has got to be truthful and say, "Hey, we're going into a terrible time, and I cannot promise you something that isn't going to be." And so it's going to be a hard time for the general public, and the general public is going to have to realize that, and that's what's going to be. Yeah, I think that's very realistic, and it's unfortunate, but the truth's got to be faced sometimes, and that's just the way it is. Do you see anybody? Is there any talk about anybody running against Mayor Daley from a major opponent standpoint?
There'll probably be major opponents, and the mayor hasn't committed himself, but everything he's done up to this point is an indication that he intends to run. The very fact that some of the things that he has introduced is an indication that he intends to run.
Yeah, I can't see any way he's not going to run next time around.
And it's his popularity is not at its all-time high either.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, there's an awful lot of people that would like to see somebody else, but they're afraid who the somebody else is going to be.
Well, you know what you got in him, and you don't know what you're going to get in the next guy. But as I say, his popularity is not at an all-time high at this point.
No, not even close. You know what? One of the things we don't mention that often, you're very available to the public at the ward office.
Well, I've always been available. I will continue to be available as long as I'm alderman. I have not made up my mind as to where I'm going from here, but as long as I'm alderman, I will be available to my constituency.
And you're at 6199 North Lincoln, second floor of the Dress Barn in Lincoln Village?
Above the Dress Barn, right.
And
I don't cross-dress.
And well, you're there Monday night and Thursday night?
Monday and Thursday night.
And what time do people show up if they want to talk to you?
So I get there at 6:30.
Okay.
And I stay until the last person leaves.
And that's twice a week, and that's more than most of the aldermen.
Some of the aldermen don't go in at all. But, listen, to each his own. And some aldermen are available and some are not.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a varying world. It's going to be very interesting because I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. There are certain longtime Democrats in my area, in Congress in particular, I'd love to see dragged down, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, we have this business of labeling people Democrats and Republicans, and I really don't know if labeling people is proper in today's world.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Basically,
labels don't really mean much.
At this point, we're running out of time.
Yeah, but I find that you got to deal with people on their individual performance and not so much as their label, and I find that people are smarter than some politicians give them credit for.
No, I very much like, I am basically for people that want to get practical things accomplished, and I try to look at neither left nor right. You know specifically who I was referring to when I said that.
Yeah.
But in any event, I want to thank my guest, Alderman Benry Stone. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. I want to thank Joe Chuck J for bringing you, and all the best. Take care.
Thank you very much.